Good morning, but it's not morning.
Hello.
Hi. This is the New Year's Evolution series video on emotional eating. You may already know, or you may not know if you are an emotional eater. Kyle and I were emotional eaters pretty much our entire lives. On top of that, I struggled with an eating disorder for pretty much my entire life. Only was able to recover from it 5 years ago. I am very familiar with emotional eating, and emotional eating, what it is, if you're not sure, is it's when you turn to food for any reason. So if you're upset, if you're stressed, or if you're happy, or if you use it as a reward. For example, if you had a bad day and then you use it as an excuse to eat. Or if you had a good day or something good happened and you say, well, I got an A on my math test, so I get to eat a whole tub of ice cream now. Or for other reasons, like if you're bored or lonely or whatever. It's turning to food when you're stressed or when you're trying to reward yourself. Tips on how to deal with that. First, your goal, it's not going to happen right away, but your goal is, if you do slip up, you want to be able to forgive yourself and be gentle on yourself. I know every time that I binged or ate emotionally that I kicked myself mentally. I was so mad at myself. I would put myself down. I would be so mean to myself. Now, I don't eat emotionally, but when I was starting to recover from it, I started learning how to say, okay, you messed up. Why did you do it? And let's try to fix it. Let's try to figure it out. And so just be gentle to yourself and say, okay, I messed up, but we're going to do a redo now. And just the next moment, forgive yourself and move on. That will take time, but you will eventually get there. Just be gentle and forgive yourself. No, it will be a guilt-free zone. Make it your head a guilt-free zone. Some mental exercise. When you're an emotional eater, if you might already experience this, anytime you binge or eat emotionally, you keep it inside because you're embarrassed. I did for years. I would do it in secret. I usually would binge in my car so that nobody would know. When you keep it a secret, it creates more guilt, and it makes it bad. It makes you feel like a bad person. So what you want to do is you want to get it out. You want to say it. Even if you're not ready to tell somebody that you've binged, which eventually you want to get to the point where you can tell someone you trust, I binged, I messed up, I feel guilty for it or whatever, and talk it out. In the beginning, if you don't feel like doing that, or if you're embarrassed to do it, just saying it out loud. Tell it to your dog or your pet, or just say it to an empty room. I ate 2 bags of chips. I binged today. Just getting it out will make it not a secret anymore, and you'll be less likely to feel bad about it, or to make it won't feel like it was a bad thing, because you know it happens and things happen, and the more that you get it out there and you don't keep it a secret, it will become less and less. You won't feel so bad about eating anymore. The next thing, and this really, really helped, is get in the habit of asking yourself why you're eating, why you want to eat, or why you ate. So try to do it before you eat. If you say, hey, I want a bag of chips, ask yourself, why? Why do I want that? Am I really hungry and I'm craving chips? Or is it because I had a really crappy day and I'm gonna drown my sorrows in this bag? Or are you just bored? Or are you lonely? Are you home alone for the first time? Everyone's at work or out, and you just want something to fill that loneliness or fill your time because you're bored. Once you can figure out why you're eating or why you want to eat, it's a lot easier to try to fix it. So if you're bored, then choose something that you really like to do. If you're lonely, and nobody's home, could you go for a walk, or could you call a friend, or could you then, you know, put on a movie that makes you feel really good about yourself or that you love? Figure out why, and then figure out ways to go around it. If you know that when you have a bad day or something bad happens, that you immediately go to food, then you can have backups for any time you have a bad day. Immediately in your car, if you've had a bad day, you can text your friend or your spouse and say, hey, I had a crappy day. Can we do something later? Or can I call you later? And then, you know, drive home and make some plans or whatever. Figure out things that work for you and set them up so that you have a success plan. Also, what also worked for us and for me was I left notes everywhere. I stuck them on the fridge, on my placemat, on the bathroom mirror, on all of the cupboards in the house. Our house looked ridiculous because it had so many notes everywhere. I had them on the light switches. I had them everywhere. Why do you want to eat? Did you emotional eat today? Why are you doing it? I actually have a list of questions that I made on cards and taped them everywhere. And it said, before you eat, ask yourself why you are eating. I wrote, are you hungry? What are you feeling right now? Did something happen that is bothering you? Then I also wrote a list of, to myself, when you are engaging in negative self-talk, like when you're beating yourself up for things, would I say this to somebody that I love and care about? Because you should love yourself. So if you wouldn't say it to your spouse or to your dog or pet or to a child, then you shouldn't be saying it to yourself because it's hurtful. What is something positive that you could say instead? So if you normally say, I messed up and I'm an idiot, could you say, I messed up, but in the next moment, I'm doing a redo anyway. It's just doing it over. It's okay. And where did you get this thought or idea from? Sometimes it could come from somebody that you know, or did it come from your childhood? Did it come from the media? Is it, you know, where are you getting it from? How are you being influenced? And like I said, once you know all of that, you can have plans to fix them. So I had a list of things that I could do instead of eating. I love to do my nails, so I can give myself a manicure. I love to write, so I have play computer games, play with Hank, which is our dog. I have read because I love to read, talk it out with somebody, and go for a walk. So you can also make yourself a list as well to set yourself up for success. And I always had things ready, like manicure stuff ready in a box, a book that I like on the go close to my placemat so I could grab that instead of food. So just setting yourself up for success instead of failure. There are support groups online. I joined a couple of them. Just Google them. You know, a lot of people, I Googled, I believe, emotional eating support groups for online. There's also, I'm sure if you search emotional eating on Instagram, there's probably many people that have support on there as well. So just, and if you have somebody that you trust, like mine was Kyle, always have a support, someone that you can go to and talk to, someone that you trust. I trusted him to say, you know what, I binged. This is what I ate. I messed up. And then he would talk it out with me. And then it was vice versa. When he binged or when, you know, he needed to talk to me, he would come to me. And so we were each other's support. Also journaling. I was reading you some stuff from my journal. This was the journal I kept when I emotionally ate and when I had my eating disorder. And I kept it because I always wanted to save it to remind myself how far I've come. I would just write in it. Anytime I was feeling really crappy or I was beating myself up, I wrote it. Because once I wrote it, it felt like I got it out. So even if you can't say it out loud, you can still write it too. And also books. There are tons of books out there for emotional eaters, but I'll show you the one that is my favorite. And you can tell, like, I've read this thing over and over again. I've tagged and highlighted parts that I really, really liked. This book really helped me get through a lot. And it is written by two people that had eating disorders. So what I don't like is when there are people that write books on emotional eating and eating disorders, but they've never had one and they've never struggled with emotional eating. That drives me nuts, because how can you tell me how to get over it if you've never gotten over it? These two have gotten over it, so they know what they're talking about in this book, and they also give their story in the book as well. This book is called It's Not About Food, and it's End Your Obsession with Food and Weight. So basically they're saying when you're binging, when you're eating, it really has nothing to do with the food. That's why asking yourself why you're eating will really help you, because you'll figure out the real reason why you're eating. Sometimes, yes, it's because you're hungry, but most of the time it's not. If you're an emotional eater, it's usually about something else. And the authors are Carol Emery Normandy and Laura Lee Rourke. And now they help people with eating disorders. So check this book out. It really does help. You don't have to have an eating disorder to have it, to read the book. It's just, it's got some really good stuff in there about emotional eating as well. Hopefully this helps you guys out, gave you some ideas. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them below and we'll do our best to answer them. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to check us out on Instagram, and you know the important part, don't you? Don't forget to like and subscribe, because if you don't, you get this finger and the Journal of Doom. Bye guys, thanks for watching.